McCullough.
Welcome back to Times Square. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us. And on the weekends, we like to have a little bit of fun and talk about some of the things that are culturally going to be impacting your life. Not just the top headline of the day, but also some of the things that you as people of values can enjoy and enjoy with your family, especially. And my next guest is part of the Kingdom Story Company that has set about on this mission to do just that, with a very good film that's coming to theaters October 4th. And I think that you're going to really be moved by this. Kevin Downs, part of that Kingdom Story Company. Welcome back.
Hey, Kevin McCullough, how's it going today?
I'm hanging in there. It's been one of those days, but we're making our way through it. White Bird is, by everything that I've read and seen and heard about this film, is going to advance the kind of universe, if you will, of the film Wonder. And that was a real heartwarming winner when it hit theaters a few years ago. Why did Kingdom Story want to be part of this kind of subtext of that story?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, for Kingdom Story Company, we are making movies that showcase the power of the gospel in a way that provides audiences with a rush of hope. And all of our films have those thematics. Typically, true stories are based on really popular books. And so White Bird was brought to us by our partners at Lionsgate. And when we understood what the thematics of this were about, which is a successful book where the main characters who are living through Nazi-occupied France during World War II, younger characters, but yet this recurring theme of what an act of kindness, a selfless act of kindness can do to impact people around us, not only for our own life, but then generations. We were all in. And so the filmmaker, Mark Forrester, has done some incredible films in the past. We're honored to be able to work with him. We provided a couple of tweaks on the film that I thought would be very beneficial. But other than that, I mean, he's a master craftsman at a level that it's just really an honor to work with him. Some of the movies that he's done in the past are incredible. So for me, I mean, literally, I could put it as simply as this: let's get the message of White Bird out there, which is a message of kindness, which I think our country needs right now, and grab a bucket of popcorn. And, because of the strikes, the union strikes earlier this year and last year, we're kind of going through this period where there's not very many great films in theaters. And so Lionsgate held on to White Bird just for that very reason, to release it at this time where there's just not a lot of great films that are being released because there weren't films being made. I mean, that was kind of the reason why.
I don't think a lot of people understand the kind of funnel that you have to continually fill to keep Hollywood coming out. But we are we've had some of those stops and starts within the last few months, and hopefully that's returning back to normal. Or do you feel like it is?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, production is back to normal for the most part. We just got done finishing a film in production over the summer. And so that was great. That film won't even be out till Christmas of next year. I mean, that's how long it takes to get these movies once you shoot them actually made. But then we're coming out with another one that's our own, called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever on November 8th, which is mind blowing. We'll talk about that when it gets closer. But White Bird for me was one of the best top 5 films on my top 5 list. It's just really such a great film. And I love it. So I'm honored really to be a part of it.
Well, if you're a sucker as I am for the World War II era and kind of the global changes that were happening in the geopolitical realm and really how the map was redrawn, and there were so many things that came out of that conflict, and in a lot of ways established what the modern era became, and certainly has reacted to, kind of contracted and expanded as it needs to, but it really was the foundation for the modern era. And I am curious about the challenges of taking on that kind of context and history. I can't think of a Kingdom Story film that has done something like this before, but it's beautifully shot and it feels very authentic in terms of that regard.
Yeah, that was critical for us. I mean, I think it was one of those things that I'm not sure we would have signed on in the script stage because, like you said, it's very tricky. But to see how Mark Forrester handled it with the visuals, with the talent, and again, it's a film that my youngest is 11, and I will have no problem showing it to him because there's nothing objectionable in the film. A film that takes place in Nazi occupied France could have some really violent things in it. Nothing in this film I thought was inappropriate for him that he's not already learning in school. And so that was a big factor for me. But, to be able to have that conversation of, because bullying is still present everywhere in our schools. And so to pick up from where the movie Wonder left off, and the bully there, his name was Julian. And so that's where our story picks up, is with him. And you kind of see him put back into this situation where another kid comes up and kind of encourages him to bully this other kid in the school. And then what are the ramifications of that? Well, he gets home and his grandmother, so incredibly played by Helen Mirren, just tells him her story and how her story put things in perspective for him. And so I love the film. I thought Mark did such a great job with it. The actors did such a great job, and I love it that it's coming to theaters October 4th, and people won't be disappointed. That's the main thing with Kingdom Story Company films. If you go, you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to be time well spent. You're going to have a very meaningful conversation at the end of it.
Well, I think that's one of the things that people are looking for increasingly. Dollars are harder to come by, and what people are willing to part with to be entertained is something that needs to be something that they feel like they get that kind of payoff from. Let's talk about Mirren's involvement. Obviously, Academy Award winner and maybe the most legendary actress to ever grace a Kingdom Story project. What her role and how it's portrayed and kind of the impact you think she's going to have on the film?
I think she's going to have an incredible impact. First of all, just because of her talent, first and foremost, but also her words matter, like to multiple generations. It's generational. But she has a speech at the end of it that moved me in such a way that I was like, "Wow, how about that?" I mean, it really, really, I mean, all the thematics of the film come out in a tight little 60-second speech that she gives that kind of thrusts the audience forward and out of the movie theater. Is one of those moments that I'm super proud just to have my name associated with that moment, because it has the ability to be able to change people's lives in a positive way. Which, to be able to have that impact, that effect, that opportunity, it has to start somewhere. It's got to start with a small little mustard seed. And so for one, Whitebird, it starts right there at that moment.
Well, we're going to share the trailer here in just a second. I want people to kind of get a taste for what we're talking about. But if people want to get their tickets early, where do they go?
Yeah, you go to whitebird.movie, and you can see the theaters that it's playing in. Also, I think there's the handle at Whitebird Movie is also out there. You can just Google Whitebird and all sorts of things will come up.
Do you have an estimate of how many theaters you're opening in on opening weekend?
It is opening wide, so definitely wherever you're at, you'll be able to get access to it. And yeah, just
you're not doing that cool little like stream it for a cost or see it in the theater for.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, yeah, there's a lot of people doing that now.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.